should be able to see me in there. Red, orange, and yellow guy. She kind of took my joke already, and it was going to really work in my favor because that means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame in here right now. Yeah, that works. See, thank you. Yeah, by the way, bridal parties, that slays, just so you know. It gets
How many have you done?
As far as bridal parties, too many.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, if one shows up drunk, I go home. Like, that's the rule.
There was one at the crab house.
Yeah.
One everywhere. I've had maybe one too much. A little bit too much wine tonight, but I'm ready to.
Well, when I get a whole team of girls that haven't seen each other in a while, or all besties to begin with, all the woo girls, like, I'm not playing the woo girl game. Like, that's not what I'm out here for. Like, I will literally go home. So that's kind of how this goes. But anyway, back to thermal imaging. We're going to be looking for the cold spots, which are going to be blue and black. Okay, so we want the blue and black areas to either move or to take shape on their own. We're always going to have blue and black because we're literally pretty damn warm out here because of the temperature. We're all sweating to death, which means it's going to put a contrasted color on there. Those blue and black areres, and when I say I want them to take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. That's what we've caught with this guy in the past. Hopefully that's what we're going to capture with it again. I always give you stats about my equipment because I do this 5 to 7 nights a week depending on the weather. Again, if it's not raining, I work 7 days a week straight. Like, I will keep going and going and going until I have a rainy day. So that's kind of how this goes. So I do over 200 investigations a year. I see 4 to 5 pieces of, I will put my stamp of approval, it was paranormal from this camera on it per year, not per episode. I am not a TV show host. I am not a YouTuber. Okay, so I just love to put that out there because give you guys a little bit of perspective of what to expect out of the equipment. And again, with this particular camera, when I find something, it is a holy shit moment. I'm just going to put that out there, just so you know. So, horrible movie. Nobody wants to watch that crap again, especially if it's your own experience. So yeah, all you got to do is hold it nice and slow, and you'll be listening in with her in just a few minutes. Perfect. Welcome to a... Oh, of course, as soon as I grab it. Yeah. There we go. All right. So, age. Yeah, age. How. Where. Present. Age, how, where, present. Got it? Just tell me anything about it. The whole space. I would always call her by a live stuff, kind of live stuff.
Ellie. Who's that? Oh, that's Christian. He's over there.
So with your camera, just so you know, I wait for the aftermath. Like I wait till I get to the office, so I'm not following up with you as much. Just know that it's because I put them up on YouTube. I watch them on a large computer. You're going to watch them on your TV. Well, Christian's going to watch them on his computer or his tablet or whatever he's going to watch it on.
Yeah.
But it's much easier to watch it when it's in a much bigger screen. Yeah. So being a videographer for these isn't always the most exciting unless you actually capture something in real time. Right. But I think you're getting the gist of how it works, right? And I usually give these to the dads of the group because it is such a high technology. We love to play with it, kind of test it out.
There's still a lot of relatives of, who are related descendants of Pinckney.
Oh yeah, there's a ton.
There are a ton of them. I mean, I've met some of them. So.
Yeah, I actually had somebody that was named. He is a Pinckney, but his full name is Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, and that was her son. That was the signer of the Constitution. Right. So his name, like he showed me his driver's license. Yeah. Like he's like, I'm not lying. Yeah. I'm like, it's not like I didn't believe you.
A friend of my father's was a Thomas Rutledge Pinckney Rivers.
Wow.
He's related to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well,
he's dead now, but
I mean, obviously Rutledge is a big name here too.
Yeah. So, but that's interesting about the indigo.
Yeah. What do I reveal all the answers?
Yeah.
I got no demonic forces here.
He goes, I usually give the high-tech stuff to the dads because they get all it.
Oh, he doesn't know you.
Actually, it's kind of interesting.
Right there.
Dead, and are you even? And then the battery went off. Make sure I didn't get.
I'm gonna sit with you.
What you got going on with yours?
A couple demonic forces.
Daddy, stop it!
Okay, here, hold it. I can't sit down.
This is a happy place. It's not demonic.
No, it's happy. I gotta lean up
Hey, come here.
What?
Turn around. There's a green light on your boat.
A green light?
There's something in your... Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Christian, talk to me. What'd you hear?
What'd you hear?
No. What'd you hear?
Love yourself. 3 men.
3 men. I've heard aggressive comes. I don't know.
You heard what?
Aggressive come.
I thought you said love yourself.
That's what I forgot too.
You actually want to try to get a few of...
That's what we want to hear. Love yourself. Yeah. We want the happy demons.
Okay. The better view is if we're going to get anything with that camera, it's probably going to be one way or the other.
Okay.
So 3 men is weird.
There's 3 men here.
There are.
Love yourself is not weird. That's pretty normal.
Love yourself is a quote for Philadelphia.
For what?
Philadelphia.
You're
Oh
in
my
Philadelphia
And
Alley
this is
right
Philadelphia Alley.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. We're only 20 minutes from Philadelphia.
The only thing
What?
I got on the
What's
way
going
here
on
was,
here with this?
Would you pipe down?
You hold that a minute. You hold that one a minute.
I'm going to hit that red light for you just so I don't get blinded.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now hold on a minute.
Ellie, what are the words you got?
Designer.
Okay.
Mammy. Code. Interrupt.
Code?
Mm-hmm.
The code did interrupt us, didn't it? You heard purple.
Yep. Fiend.
Fiend.
Now there's 3.
I got awkward back there, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because of me.
that's it right now.
I was being awkward.
Different.
Awkward and different. That's definitely you back there. So,
I'll own it.
let's talk about why we're here. So this place gets super hot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to breeze through this as quickly as I can and get us the hell out of here. Is that fair to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Figure as much. Now,
Death.
as she's already mentioned, this is Philadelphia Alley. So this used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. By the way, if you have a camera, other tours may come in here or even passers-by. That's when you lower your camera straight to the ground. Other tours will come in through the ivy wall. Don't be startled. There's a little set of stairways right there that they'll come through, or they'll come in the same way that we did. Any tourists can actually have access to the whole alley. We don't, because I'll explain I've been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that. And Peter's looking at me like, oh my God, what did we sign up for? Who the hell is this guy? Sounds pretty horrible down there. So duels, that's why we're here. So dueling was illegal. They had to find hiding spots. This just happened to be one of them. That's why we're here. Every ghost tour comes down here. There are 339 ghost tours in Charleston. Almost every one of them comes down this alley. It's kind of a staple. This is the reason why I didn't want to come down here, because I always wanted to tell you guys stories that you don't always get to hear.
We've been down this alley.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Yeah.
I'm going to give you the same story, but a few extra details because you're ghost hunting. You're not on a campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. Let's get into it. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that Christian hears the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. We get it all the time. Anyway, Doc moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda she inherited a lot of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. That's going to be people walking.
Yeah, I'm pointed down.
Okay.
To the
Well, they can still see your red light
Oh,
from
okay.
access point. So, I know, they must have just been passing by, so it looks like they're gone already.
They're coming up this way.
Oh, I see them now.
Yep.
Yep, perfect, thank you.
Yep.
You have glasses on, I left mine at the office.
Sorry.
Um,
I paused it.
yeah, that's fine.
Until there.
Now, with this whole Amanda bit, the attorney thinks that Doc Ladd is just after Amanda's cash, so he tells Amanda to get rid of him, and he moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. So on his way into town, into Charleston, because he's going to move here to start his medical practice, he has a coachman that's going to set him up to be robbed and killed. It's like having a really bad Uber driver, today's world. But there was a person walking by and seeing everything that was about to happen. The person walking by was named Ralph Isaacs. I say his name slowly because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. We were getting the letters RI all the time from the spirit boxes, so I bought a new device. It basically acts like a digital Ouija board using EMF, just like Julia's device. We didn't bring it tonight because it's not always super productive, so I left it back at the office to lighten up my load. Now anyway, we've had it about 7 times, RI specifically, whenever I brought up Ralph's name. Now we know who it belongs to. Moving forward, Ralph tells Dr. Ladd, I know this guy, the coachman. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from these friends of mine. They'll hook you up and you'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. Now the 2 gentlemen are friends. The longer he stays here, the doctor, the more money he's making from his medical practice, and he's doing pretty well. Amanda gets wind of this from Rhode Island. She's moving down so they could be married, and Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. This is another reason I hate the damn story. It's a giant cliche. Every haunted city you will ever visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. This one just happens to be a doctor. But We're going to talk more about those whistles, but let me tell you why we're in Dueler's Alley. Doc and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other when they go see these plays because the Doc makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. That's how it goes. They go see Richard III one night, and on their way home, they're arguing over the new actress they just saw. Doc thought she was great. Ralph didn't. Ralph is now insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Ralph, instead, goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of bullshit. Doc saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley, man. Let's settle this. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind, this argument started over an actress. I just like to point that out one more time. Now, they come down here, back to back. They took their 10 paces. Doc points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. Just needed the courage to show up to the fight, which is often what happens at a duel. You've already seen Hamilton. You know how this goes. Ralph, however, has his one bullet still. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc didn't die. He fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Two things about that last statement. It is 1786, and gunshot wounds are a lot different back then than what we know of them now. Secondly, he is a doctor. He probably just tried to bleed it out and, thought he had lead poisoning. He got the point. But obviously he failed because he died. Every ghost tour tells you to listen for the whistles. I'm sure you can attest to that. So they all do it. We have 2 cameras running plus my voice recorder. If we capture a disembodied whistle, it's more than likely going to come from one of those 3 devices, not always heard in real time. If you're going to try this on your own with your voice recorders and walk all the way through the alley, just remember every local knows the damn story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down this alley whenever we walk by. It's just something we do. You'll get used to it when you move here because it's just something we do. However, I used to take my groups all the way through here for an exact reason. Now, this alley, this is where a lot of my research could come through. So the alley basically had a wall halfway in between us and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because this is called Cow Alley. This is where they kept all the livestock for the city of Charleston. So we get the word cow down here all the time, especially on your device. So why am I telling you this? Because I used to take my groups all the way through because the bricks down at the end are older than the bricks you're standing on. So those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. Full handprint from the shell down there, fingerprints and others. And I used to take people down there. Well, I used to take them there for a history lesson. There's nothing paranormal about that brick. I'll let this go. How you doing, guys? Good. Good. It's warm down here. Go cool off. So, took my group down there. Again, nothing paranormal about that brick. That's the last place you're going to find the ghost of that kid, right? So I took them down, and they all stopped, and they huddled around the damn brick, waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen, and I'm shooing them along because we're also standing outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful. I didn't realize that we were out of bounds for tours. I was still new at this.
Oh, wow.
So the new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at, and she thought it was hysterical. And she was laughing her ass off. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on holidays, especially Thanksgiving, because I worked in upper management for Walmart before I started doing this. You guys like to fight over towels on Thanksgiving. You scarred me for life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I don't work on holidays anymore. The next day was the 28th of November. So I called my partner that morning and I told him what happened with the neighbor, and he laughed at me just like my daughter did and said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. It's residential down there. Reroute your group. So I was like, all right, I don't have a story for over there. But what I told my group was, I don't believe in the next story because I'm into vampires, not pirates. So, normally I would tell you a pirate story next, but I've been kicked out of that place too. We'll talk about that later on. But here's what happened then. Somebody with a spirit box heard the name Anne before we left here. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The female pirate, Anne Bonny. It was kind of like, okay, maybe we'll get something. I took them up and around the corner. Told them what I knew about pirates in Charleston. Not much, by the way. Somebody else with a spirit box heard the number 300. Didn't know what it meant. Wrote it down, do the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trio. So, for 4.5 years, well, basically, yeah, 4.5 years, I was doing a shit ton of research on pirates, and I had a pretty damn good story going, and we actually had a lot of activity. And then we got booted out of that space because they're basically dissecting it to see if it can be fitted for tours, because it's literally an open parking lot like what we were just in.
Yeah.
However, here's what's going to happen when we go up and around the corner. You guys are hopefully going to hear things from this alley, from Doc Ladd, when we go up and around the corner, because we're going to be talking about the cemetery over here when we get over there. The camera, Barb is using, is going to be the major feature because we're going to be dealing with an apparition. Her camera sees things that we cannot, so hopefully we're going to capture the apparition with her camera. But obviously we're going to be using this one as well, so in the event that she finds, or I find something in the spot check of these, I want to see how that camera reacted as well. So that way I get to learn about it. I have yet to capture an apparition with that camera, so I'll learn how both cameras interact with it. I will tell you guys the story and piece of it ahead of time. And then I'll have to explain our last 2 stops because they're completely different than everything else we've been doing. So Christian, we'll start with you. Did you hear anything while we've been down here?
Oh yeah.
What did you hear while we were down here?
What answer?
So many years.
Okay.
He's been giving me a whole running monologue of it, and I don't remember.
So what were some of the things? Just what are some of the things that stood out to you?
I'm on the spot now. I'm like you. I don't.
It was giants.
Speak up.
Giants?
It was the giants.
Don't worry.
Okay. It's okay. They'll start to come to you. The word giants is relevant. I'm going to tell you why when we get around the corner. Ellie, what are the last couple of terms that you have, and we'll get out of this alleyway?
Sense, authority, report, secret.
Secret piece makes sense. Anything anomalous seen on the cameras while we've been standing here?
He said 56 million. It's been a lot of years. That was from the word. Anything else?
I haven't been looking at it yet.
There was so many more. I don't know.
6 million.
Did you say something
My
about a
dad
city?
doesn't really love me. Something about the
Wow.
dad doesn't really love
Yeah,
me.
geez,
That's
that's a
serious.
bit.
That's a long phrase.
People come in to just.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and put a stop to your cameras. We're gonna get out of this hot alley because I'm
Yeah,
like
oh my
drenched down
gosh.
here.
Yeah, it's yeah.
That's
I'm not
the
that
camera.
hot.
Oh my god.
No, I'm not.
I'm like,
Burning.
You guys go first.
I'm like
I'll
dripping.
take a-
Yeah, I'll lead the way.
I'll take a-
It's a great shot.
I'm sure my hair is out to here.
So did you guys hear that particular whistling doctor story when you were down there before?
I believe I did. This was, I don't know, I've been living in South Carolina for 25 years, so
Yeah.
it could have been 10 years ago.
They've been telling that guy's story for like 50 years.
Yeah, so I think I remember. I know we did it.
And I was actually going to take it out of my route because the story's been told so much, but then he started following me. So we're going to be near his house later on, so he shows up there too. So we'll lead over into that location. So it's kind of like, all right, we're just going to keep him in, give him his origin story. Man, it's warm down there. The camera's nice and still for about 5 minutes. Let's get you unmuted. Let's listen in for a few. Kind of see what we can get out of this. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I'm feeling a couple drips on that tree too.
For Tom again.
Yeah, I heard that. Or you.
Or you, yeah.
Doc?
No, I'm
I thought I heard Doc.
Yeah.
That's why we're recording thanks to cameras. So we can capture that audio later.
That's no problem.
You guys see the light off to the left? The church put that there on purpose so nobody would try to recreate this, but obviously you can see my cameras like dart right through the light flares that it would cause. So you might have one little light flare on yours, Bart, but you're not going to see a whole lot of it unless you're using the camera.
Where is the grave? Right there in front of it. On the other side of the tree?
So it's the. You see the cross headstone in the background?
Yes.
It's to the left of that. One more row back.
Okay.
So we're hoping mainly with the camera that Barb has that it's going to capture some kind of motion back there, and then hopefully I'll see a cold spot on your camera. I don't know if the husband's buried back there or not. I don't usually care about the gender of spirit boxes unless it's disembodied.
Okay. That was a sentence right there.
Christian, you got anything coming out?
Nothing?
Nothing. Ellie, how's our words?
Just they.
Just they. A whole lot of vagueness. A whole lot of nothing.
Very close to it.
I did say I wasn't sure if the husband was buried back there. So if you can hear us, if you want to tell us your husband's name, that would be fantastic. That would prove that you're actually here.
P, please. Yep.
And you guys are going to have jobs with me later still as you're holding those cameras. I
Yeah.
can't believe half the videos that I get back from these tours.
Dad, I'm actually catching when you're still.
The thermal especially needs to be perfectly still because there's a lot of layers in there, and the more he moves it, the more those colors fluctuate.
Are we looking for like black and blue?
Anything black and blue that's going to move, but I will watch this camera first when I go through the spot check, just to kind of see what's going off there in the distance. And you actually have a zoom, I'm sorry.
Needing water?
Needing water?
You assumed it because you actually have.
I just didn't want to touch it because I didn't
No,
know
have
how
at
you
it.
wanted it.
Not me.
Boring.
This is your night. I'm just here for the interpretation of stuff. Well, really Neena's night, I guess.
Get it.
Boring.
So you're not messing with it.
I'm hearing like holy.
Isn't that cat?
Holy noises?
You see there's only 2 dots up there?
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't be down
Where
there.
are the graves?
Oh, wait, we didn't switch out the light from.
We didn't switch out
okay.
the light, just the battery.
Gotcha.
Died. Hope that doesn't mean
We're near a cemetery.
Yeah, died.
I got secret.
Oh, I forgot to explain the Giants piece that he heard. So, Big John that we talked about earlier, nobody knows where he's buried. My suspicion is that he's buried here because to be buried on this side of this cemetery, you have to be from Charleston. He's from Charleston, and his funeral services were downtown. And we've been getting small little clues relevant to Big John while we've been around this vicinity. And Giants, if you recall, he played for the 1947 New York Giants. So, why would we hear the word Giants when we are in Charleston? Exactly. No such thing as coincidence with me. So,
What's the name of the cemetery again?
this is St. Philip's.
St. Philip's. Okay.
By the way, there's 2 sides to the cemetery. Natives are buried on this side. Across the street is everybody else. So if you're not from here, you go across the street. Anybody know the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery?
No.
Graveyard is actually where the church building is because the church needs a yard. Graveyard. Cemetery is off-site.
Yep.
All right.
Makes sense.
So this part is the graveyard. That part is the cemetery.
When was this church built?
I knew that question was coming. 96. I'm
Wow.
probably mistaken. I'll be honest. I'm probably wrong, but it's one of our oldest churches, if not the.
That's amazing that they made this without any power tools.
Well, they renamed this road. If you notice, the road starts to curve out around the church.
Right.
There's like a little, just around it, and it goes right back in line once you get past the church. It's named Church Street because it's the only building that couldn't move when they widened the road. This used to be Dock Street. Hence, Dock Street Theater is on Church Street.
How'd they build this thing in 1600s?
They actually had to redesign this thing several times because of fires. There was some fires.
Did that one fire that we were talking about the first place come through here?
I'm sure it did, but I don't think that's the one that did. I want to say there was an earlier fire. It was a fire like this over 14.
This
Okay.
time.
Good question.
This time.
This time or this time?
All right, let's cut those cameras off. Let's give them a break. We're gonna close yours. We'll start over.
Oh, we got
We're allowed to go to 20.
You are?
I'm gonna go to 10.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I went.
Oh, my goodness.
the West Artery.
Oh, this is Joel. This is the mill house. Yeah. It is a nice hotel.
garage doors.
I'm not sure what that
I
building
just need someone else to wake up. And not be so worried about baseball. Mine's at 0-0 because you can't fuck with them. One more than this.
All right, Ellie, have a seat. Any step you want. Stop right there. Sure. Anybody know why there's two sets of stairs on City Hall? Because men and women could not go in the same entrance. They actually have separate entrances. I don't know which one's which, but very interesting little fun little nugget of information. So you can just set that goes by, and if it's too loud for you, just point it towards your belly, and it'll kind of muffle the sound for you.
She's amazing. So
All right. So let me get my notebook out and start reading them off. I'll cherry pick what might actually stick. What do you got? Okay.
in the Bible, small, he told me he wasn't aware. I don't really believe in parties.
Alright.
You don't know how true this one is, guys. Like, you're laughing, but it's actually kind of relevant.
Sometimes nowadays in NFL, you saw somebody every day, the heart and soul, take you down, Christian, talk, school shootings, and sauna.
What was the last one?
Sauna, like, I don't know how that's
Like a sauna?
yeah.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
I like the phrase, he wasn't aware. I go to parties, take you down, and school shootings. Those are the ones that I'm interested in. Very interesting. They're all like very vague descriptions, but they all kind of really match. You're going to see why here in just a minute. Here's what happens here. You already know I have limits, so this is as close as I can get you to where the murder actually happened. If we were to continue walking 2 more blocks, by the way, this is the cutoff point for tourists, like this is it. If we were to keep going, 2 more blocks, a woman fell to the ground on November 1st of 1933. Her name was Mary Ravenel. If you came over here from Mount Pleasant, you drove over the giant bridge, that's the Ravenel Bridge. If you watch Southern Charmed, they have the Ravenel family as characters. Now, here's what happened. She falls to the ground and starts screaming in pain. A man hit me, I know I'm gonna die. She's saying it over and over and over again. Everybody's a gentleman back then. Somebody was driving by and seeing what was about to happen. And by the way, if you hear a voice that's not one of ours, I will make vocal notes, like if that couple is talking and I can hear them, I will say there's a couple across the street, just for my own. I'm not trying to count that as a ghost. You see my point? Same thing with the horse carriage ride that just went away, but we heard the clop of the horses, so I kind of knew it off the top. But anyway, somebody drove by and seen a woman on the ground. He stops to help the woman out, Miss Mary, and he can't figure out what's going on with her either. He helps her into his car and takes her to the hospital, where MUSC sits now, but it used to be called St. Roper's back then. He takes her down there, and she has a doctor. The doctor's name is Dr. James Avery Finger. Didn't somebody hear the name James?
Me. I did.
See, I thought somebody did. I think somebody had John.
No, I had John, not James.
I had James.
Yeah, James.
I
And
had
you
John.
John would have been Mary's husband.
Wow.
James is the doctor. But James Avery Finger, we've had all 3 parts of his name in the same evening, by the way, before I even told the story, like along the way here, of things that were heard. But the doctor can't find out what's wrong with this woman either. So she dies on his table. He sends her over to the coroner and autopsy for them to figure out what happened with her corpse. The coroner finds a scrape underneath her arm and a bullet wound inside of her rib cage. She was shot with a .38 and it went all the way across her chest and killed her slowly. Now, here's what we know. When somebody picked her up and took her away, that means the shooter escaped. Saying my point, we don't know who the shooter is. We still don't know who the shooter is. A couple of facts that you'll need to know. There's no gunpowder residue on her body, so this was not a close-range shot. Secondly, all of her cash and jewelry were still intact on her person when she reached the hospital. She wasn't robbed, nor did the driver rob her at all, so put that in twofold. She's also 64 years old, and she's a widow. She married into the Ravenel family. She's originally from Detroit, Michigan. I want you to stop and think about where you are. You're in South Carolina, the Deep South. If a northerner marries somebody from the Deep South, a very prominent name like the Ravenel family, and the Ravenel member dies, how do you think that the Ravenel family feels about the northerner taking their money?
Oh, yeah, no, not good.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's my perception, and that's an assumption that I'm making. I can't prove any of it. I'm just giving you something to think about as you're thinking of your own questions. So, those are the couple of facts that we know. As you're thinking of questions of what to ask this woman literally out loud just by asking me, and hopefully we get Mary's voice coming through Ellie's ears, I'm going to tell you basically what we've caught so far. This is the new space for this year. I always start looking for a new space for the following year right after Halloween. Obviously my busiest time of year. So, the month of November, we had a couple of weeks went by and nothing was happening. So, we finally got something. Somebody raised their hand in real time that they were listening to, and they said, I just heard a woman's voice. Great. I went back to the office, I checked it out. Help, help, in the background. Wow. Perfectly quiet night. And tonight isn't too horribly bad. You can see why I don't do this on the weekends. At least you will when you get the recording back. A couple of weeks later, we get another voice. Different person raises their hand. I heard a woman's voice. Go back to the office. Help me, I have fallen. So now, I have a key word in there of the word help. I can now compare the audio waves from both EVPs. It's the same voice, everybody. So again, I have the software to be able to do this shit. So, we do have some mumbles. I can't make out what they're saying. I'm not going to count them. Keep in mind, it is now July, so I've been coming here for about 8-9 months. So those are the two things that we've caught so far. Still enough for me to continue going because I keep getting other little trickles of things from other devices. What questions would you ask this woman to try to get her to come talk to us?
Who killed you?
Who killed you? I like it. Good start. What else? Keep them coming. Proving a point here.
Where was she coming from?
Where was she coming from?
Did you get shot?
She may not have known she got shot, so it's actually a legitimate question. So yeah, that's a good question. I like it. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said, a man hit me. She would have said, a man shot me.
Who was the man who killed?
Who was the man?
You saw?
What else we got? Here, you got anything? And Ellie, if you have a question too, just feel free to shout it out. Your voice is going to sound weird in there, but if you have something, by all means.
Sorry if I missed it. Do you know what building she got shot? She fell from? Do we know what building?
She didn't fall from a building. She was walking on the street.
Oh, I thought she said she fell from.
No, I just said 2 blocks from here.
2 blocks from here.
Oh.
She fell to the ground.
She fell to the ground, sorry.
Yeah. She thought she got hit by a car, but when they found out,
I'm just curious, like, where was she coming from? Sorry, I didn't know.
That's
Where
okay.
were you going to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what was the circumstances around where you got shot and who was involved and how much money were you
was
in?
it? That I actually know the answer to. So that way we could actually verify because it was November 1st of 1933. We know it was a Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So if we get the word Wednesday, we know we got some legitimacy things going on
Her
here.
husband had passed, but did they have children?
I was about to say, did they have kids?
They did not, but she did.
Oh, she did. I was going to ask about the kids.
So there are children involved, just not theirs.
Were her children here also, or were they still back? Were they?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question too. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. I like it. I like when you guys keep me on my toes. I love it.
How long was she in the hospital till she died?
Don't know that either. That's an answer. That's a question for Mary.
What was she thinking when she was lying on the table? I know she said she didn't want to die.
I'm wondering if she knew who killed her.
It's a possibility. There's a lot of theories behind it.
What led up to it? Yeah, like
if there's money involved.
Some of the theories claim that first off, maybe she had her own .38. It was in her handbag, and she tripped and fell and went off, and it shot her in the rib. Hence, no gunpowder residue because the bullet would have made a hole, and the gunpowder would have went around the hole.
Yep.
So, however, that was a Ravenel family member that actually made that assumption. It got thrown out.
Yeah, because would they not? Her purse was there. They found her jewelry and her money.
Right. It is a great eavesdropping device, just so you know.
My 25-year-old's autistic, and he is like all over into everything.
wrapped all the way around the building. You see that? Isn't that weird?
Alright, let's go learn some quick 5-minute history and we'll come back and watch this thing unfold.
Later.
Everybody's going to have a roll once we get over there. So you're obviously going to be filming them directly. Because again, they're going to want to watch this later on. So Peter, with yours, you can like do 360 full view around when we get over there. We have seen triple digit while we've been here. So you're definitely going to be keeping an eye on your EMF while this session is going on. If I'm not getting an answer out of Christian, hopefully the answer is going to go to you. So it's okay to just tell me what word you have. I'll be asking him questions just as if he's the ghost. If we don't get the answer from him, you might get it. That's the way this works.
I got cross.
It's kind of a gimme. This location was a new space for last year. I brought my 2 people in. It's a month in November. Everybody canceled because it's cold. At least what we call it. So they all canceled and I only have 2 folks. The person listening to the spirit box, I told her this is a new space. I don't even know who we're looking for. Just tell me whatever you hear. We'll figure it out as we go. She came in here. She heard the year 1828 and the name Henry. I was using Ellie's word list. I had the name Tim on mine the minute we walked in. The bus behind me is Henry Timrod. He was born in 1828. Because I got, hot damn, there's my ghost. Nice and easy. Here's his quick story. The man is sick for most of his life, and he's a writer. So he goes out to the battlefield of the Civil War, because he's old enough to go fight for the Confederates, and he goes out there, and he's too sick to fight. His comrades realized he was too sick to fight, so they sent his ass home. And they basically said, go be the voice of the war. They knew he was a writer. Come home, go tell people what's going on back here. So he comes home and starts writing poetry about what's happening on the battlefield. He became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. That's the big title back then. It's still a big title now. Anyway, he's doing pretty well with his poetry, and he has a son. His son's name is Willie. He's born on Christmas Eve. Didn't she hear the name Will earlier? Or didn't we get the name Will somewhere? Somebody had the name Will along the way. I wrote it down. I know that. But he's born on Christmas Eve, but he did die 9 months later. I know for certain that Christian actually heard the number 24. So I'm excited about Will and 24 because that's the dude's birthday. Anyway, what do you got now? Murder mystery. So, back to Henry. He's not writing as much because he's mourning over his son. His wife Katie's also mourning, and Henry's just not writing as much. So he has another writer friend. His name is Paul Hamilton Hayne. He's another poet from Charleston, and he offers him his cottage that he has in Columbia, right in the middle of the state. He goes out and he says, go get back on track, man. Go tell people like what's going on with your poetry, and let's get you writing again. So he goes out there, and that's where he wrote his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. He died right there, age 38, pen in hand. Perfect way for a writer to go. However, we're here because of the blood stain. You did get the phrase carpet stain. That's why I said I'm excited about the word stain. The blood stain is shown one day a year at the Charleston Library Society, because that's where Henry's work is being held. And they only show it on Halloween, and you have to be a member to go see it. The blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk, which is why they show it on Halloween. We call it the blood book. So the internet's beautiful. Here is his blood book. It's his last page he ever wrote. Here is your blood stain. It looks like the silhouette of a man writing at his desk. So you can see the very specific things that are hopefully going to come out of this conversation between me and Christian, and hopefully we're going to get a nice little conversation out of this whole piece. So hopefully these images of what's going to be seen through NEENA's device are going to correlate with the conversation that I'm having with Henry through Christian, and kind of see how this goes. So again, you guys kind of all know what your role is over there. So yeah, let's go talk to a ghost. Oh, by the way, Christian is not going to be able to hear me, so I'll need a volunteer from the family in the event that he's speaking too loud. I don't think that's going to be a problem for him because he's a very quiet talker. Somebody will tap him on the shoulder just to let him know he's too loud to quiet down. But when we're done, somebody's going to need to tap him on the leg. I don't touch the guests on the bench. I'm sure you guys can appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of give you guys the cues for that, and I'll call somebody over to come and tap him on the leg to get him out of there. Let's go give them a few little tidbits of instruction, and your camera is upside down. Camera always on the left.
I just look at my finger.
Yeah,
just-
all you're doing is watching it. Those will go over your ears, and then your headphones will go over top of that to hold it into place. So you can also answer in yes/no questions. So whatever, if you hear yes/no, you don't know what I'm asking. The whole point is I'm hoping to have a conversation with our ghost through you. So that's the whole point. So just say whatever you hear. All of it. Say all of it. When we're done, somebody will tap you on the leg. That's not me. Family knows. Remember, I'm never going to touch you. If you're here, I need you to. I'm not talking like directly to you. Yeah, crank that thing up. Henry, tell us about your job, please. Can you tell us about your work? Henry, you're going to have to make things very clear for Christian, Henry. He kind of struggled with this box tonight. So use those frequencies, give us nice, clear messages. Tell us about your work, please. Whenever you get a word, just tell me what the word is.
Spot. Action.
Stay in the spot. It's vague, but it's there. Henry? It's not easy what he's doing. Henry? Make it nice and clear. Tell us about your job. Good, nice shot. You may have to get closer so you can interpret what he's saying. He's a really soft talker. Is he always like that?
Yeah, he doesn't enunciate words.
Got it. Henry?
He's heard something. Yes.
There's a lot of noise going on.
Memories.
Got it. Henry, we're using the blue box tonight too. Don't leave Nina in the dark. Give us some images. We got you on night vision, right? Or does it look normal? Is it black and white?
No, there's color.
Grandfather.
Grandfather.
Better.
Yes. Not recording yet.
Sure.
The thing was moving.
Oh, I made it changed it when I made it over into.
The number was moving.
Okay. It's okay. It'll get spliced together anyway. Grandfather, memories. So, Henry, do you want to talk about your grandfather or Willie's grandfather?
You're around.
Get around it.
So, Henry, you could tell us yes or no if you named your son after your father.
People are.
Nina, you got something?
No.
Okay. Got me excited there for a minute.
Sorry.
Henry? I was asking about your work, but if you want to tell me about your family members, we'll take that too. That's convenient. Henry, let's go to another simple question. What sound do we hear out of the church? Can you tell me what that sound is? We normally hear it when we're over here. Normally goes off every 15 minutes. What sound is that? You can show us an image of what that is. Nina, still nothing?
Nothing.
I'll give you another minute and then I'll reset it just to make sure we're working.
Okay.
Should have had at least something by now. I know there's been nights where I've even reset it and we still had 0.
Okay.
I just like to double check. Henry,
Famous?
you were famous for a short period of time. You're definitely famous now. Can you tell us why you're famous? You just give us that one word, Henry. We'll all understand. In the community. Henry, tell us why you're famous. What did you do? What are you famous for?
Underlying.
Alright, may I peel that off your face for a second? Let me just reset it.
Oddball.
Oddball?
Henry, why would you use the word oddball? Can you tell us why you may have been the oddball? Battery again. Henry, how was the battery? Were you watching it?
Yeah, it was full. When I turned it on, it still had all your lines.
Yeah.
What is that?
Jurors, like basically somebody on a jury.
We are in the wrong section.
Yeah. You are not a juror that I know of, Mr. Henry. Can you tell me something else that you're famous for? We had some breadcrumb clues to you and your family and Mr. Willie. We had his birthday show up. Can you tell me what holiday that is? We had the number. We would like to know what the holiday is. You wouldn't mind. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah, the battery's full.
Henry, we're running out of time. Let's get at least 1 or 2 images from you. If you want to talk about your work through images, we'll take it. I'm just looking for some verification that you're here. We won't pry too much. Nina's been staring at the space inside the blue box.
I wonder if you're going to see things behind him. Yeah, when you look
like
at the
some things going on.
I don't know. It seems pretty active behind
What's
him.
funny is we've actually had like peekaboo characters from a different style of camera than we're using tonight actually come out from underneath that tree, like side to side, like little stick men. Like we use a stick man camera, and we've had like some like going in and out at that location before.
Yeah.
What?
So he shouldn't be able to hear me. How did he hear you? Henry, can you tell me your son's birthday, please? When's your son's birthday? What holiday is that? Can you give us an image of that holiday? Don't fall asleep in there if we don't get an image soon.
Thought.
Henry, we're running out of time. We're down to about a minute. I've asked you a lot of questions. Last chance to kind of give us any of those answers.
A local charity.
almost done.
Huh?
Road access.
Road access?
Henry, we're gonna wrap it up. Can you tell us goodnight? You can show us a moon figure in the blue box. That would basically tell us goodnight. Henry.
I hate my life.
Oh, it's a long sentence. Henry, last chance. I'm looking for at least one image. We'll leave you alone. Henry, going once. Going twice. Alright, let's get Christian tapped out. Nina, sorry, hon. We had 0.